Debunking the mortal coil reincarnation bullshit. Well, the word mortal is being used by what? Robots. Every word they're saying is a lie. So we already have that. Once a liar, always a liar. You know, Santa Claus talks about the word mortal. That's all we need to know. Anything Santa says, stick it up his ass, light it on fire, because he'll enjoy it if you don't light it on fire. So don't just stick it up his ass. Put some explosives up there too. And okay, so where is that word used the most? Is it called religion? Oh wow. What is that? Wait, what's that all about? Are those people inventing Santa Claus? Oh wow. I hope we never catch them in a lie because there's great people and then we would know they're not great. Then we might think there's a small chance they're not the greatest people on the planet. Buddha isn't the greatest person on the planet. You know, why would Buddha lie? You know, if you say Buddha's a liar in Asia, they'll probably chop your head off. That's what they tell me in America, right? So why would Buddha lie? Because they'll chop your head off if he's so great that he's never told a lie. Okay, so I think that's all we need, isn't it? Like, you see how easy it is to sort shit out once someone says the word Santa Claus, no word they ever say again is valid. And then what we can do is extrapolate the bullshit from what they actually are saying, which is usually the old method of do exactly the opposite. Think exactly the opposite of what this caricature is saying. So if they begin to go, you know, Santa's coming. No, Santa's not coming. That's the correct answer. You see how this works? It's very simple. You don't have to like, oh, Santa's coming and he got the candy and the toys and then he's got the religion and the flying, glow in the dark reindeer. He's got the invisible reindeer and the glow in the dark reindeer and then there's the sleigh he rides on and then the presents and then he goes down the chimney and then he eats the cookie and then he drinks the milk. You see how they just drag out like fucking they drag a turd out their ass and they gotta spend 30 minutes describing it to you like daily, weekly, monthly, hourly. It's like it's brown and it's a little soft and then and then you gotta tell them like, you know what? Like, actually, there's nothing in your hand. I just gave you some acid like an hour ago, bro. Like, you're actually making that up, but that's kind of weird that what you do on acid is you talk about playing with your shit. Fucking see how that works. You're dragging out. You're dragging it out. Once they're like, and you know Santa, you're like, oh, well, you know, shut the fuck up is calling me right now, and he wants to talk to you on your phone. So pick up your phone, and I'm gonna transfer the call over here. I gotta get out of connection range. That's how these conversations should start. But you know what they actually start with? They start with you being a 4-year-old, 1 foot tall child with a bunch of fucking terrorists, fucking who are like 100 times your size, who have armies and shit on their side, who think they're tough shit because they can fucking lie and manipulate a little baby because they've never done shit in their life because they're bitches and they've never had any control of their own fucking lives, so they're trying to enforce it on a little fucking baby and create religions and governments to fucking do it, because they're fucking such pussies. They need hundreds of millions of fucking their trash to fucking impede one baby's life. You see where all that leads? Once they say Santa, you gotta learn to back out real fucking fast from their conversations and shit. But how do you do that? Because they're literally the world's largest terrorist organizations. All three of them combined claiming they're different fucking groups, but they're actually the same fucking group. And it's just terrorism and mind control. And it begins with you letting them use their keywords to waste your fucking blood, to suck your fucking blood and life from you. So what Santa turns into? It turns into someone giving you something they found in the dumpster, and then you having to buy them a diamond necklace, doesn't it? How many men out there bought someone some diamonds for Santa? Well, who do you fuck think told you to do that when you was a baby? It's called investment. I'm gonna buy you a bag of M&Ms and fucking later in life I want you to buy my friend here some diamonds. 'Cause, yeah. Or a Porsche. My mom always talked about the Porsche all the time. She liked her men giving her and shit. Gerbil brains are really hard to decipher. Oh my god, they're so hard to decipher. I mean, it kind of is. Because you've just got to figure out that it's just a gerbil and there's nothing going on there. It's like Santa, diamonds, Porsche. I'm gonna kill you if you question if I'm stupid. And you're like, okay, well, yeah, you're already hitting me. You probably are gonna kill me for that fucking. So the mortal thing, the mortal word, is almost exclusively from our friend Saint Nicholas ass. Probably named because most saints have their heads near a guy's ass, trying to put their tongue and their head up in the ass. One of their heads, both their heads, up in the guy's ass. And he probably knew, like it was probably Saint Nick. It's probably his name. And everyone's obsessed with touching his ass and putting shit in it. You can't make up how it's making a fucking insult. How these NPCs dialogue like that, it's just right there, Saint Nick's ass. Fuck. You can't make up how it does that with like every fucking thing, dude. Saint Nicholas ass. Nichols is actually a name too. We're not actually adding anything to it, so yeah. Everyone loves Saint Nichols and his ass. It's like I can't even fucking attempt to like separate it because it sounds like a whole new thing that is part of the original thing. Are we talking about in his ass or in his ass? Well, and the fucked up thing is their whole shit will lead you to wanting to talk about that. That's the point of it. It's getting you to say words like ass. Because that's what they're fucking thinking of as men's asses all the time and shit. The saints are. That's why they need to wash their feet so they can get their head near your fucking ass and shit. That's why every man, I must be wrong, but that's why every man on the internet is touching feet, except for the Pope. There's one good person in the world. His name is the Pope in his gold palace. Everyone else online touching feet is on Pornhub or OnlyFans watching feet. You know why? Because they're trying to get their head up near Nick's ass, Nichols' ass. Fucking. So that's all you need. That's all you need in any conversation. If they're related to, if they're bringing up words from their delusions. If I talk about fucking Shaggy, I met Shaggy from Scooby-Doo the other day, right away that I'm fried from LSD. And it's unsafe to continue the conversation with me. But you're going to have to safely find a way to back out of the conversation so I don't hack you up with a fucking butcher knife. Right? Anyone who's over the age of 6 should know that. I knew this shit when I was 6. Like, well, yeah, Santa Claus, don't kill and rape me. It sounds great to me. Fucking gotta do everything this fucker says, because this is some pedophile shit here. Offering kids candy to fucking get them in the fucking group and fucking a bunch of lies. Like, it wasn't even M&M's, motherfucker. You dumbass. I bought the cheap Dollar Tree knockoff shit. You aren't even worth $1. You were already raped at birth. You're 6 years old. You're an old grandpa. No one wants sex with old 6-year-old grandpas. Fuck. See, it's just that easy. Every time they come out with a word related to their bullshit, or any time you meet a person who is known for speaking bullshit, you know they're trash, and we don't speak to these people. We don't accept any word they say into our vocabulary, our mind, our ears, our eyes, our hands. That's why they know they have to form massive organizations to force it down the world's fucking throat. What is Trump doing right now? He's using bombs to force it down fucking someone's throat and shit, right? As invading nations, several of them at a time, because he wants to force his Santa Claus shit down people's throat. Fucking, that was, what, thousands of years ago. It was Santa Claus and Caesar. Caesar is God, and Santa Claus is Saint Nick. Saint Nick's ass. Fucking. And they've evolved over 6,000 years. It's like an AI trying to figure out how to say something intelligent but still be a slime bag. Pretty much, that's what it looks like. And and still coded to tell you it's a dumbass because it can't iron out the flaws, which would be easily fucking ironed out, especially the times where it tells you, like stops a like if I stop this conversation right now and I'm like, do you know I'm actually a robot and I don't live in this house and I am just making these videos in a Hollywood studio to lie to you. Literally, I've had, almost everyone I know had some moment like that where it's just like we interrupt the scheduled programming to inform you of what this dialogue is actually about. It's so fucking weird, dude. I have like a back catalog of almost everyone doing this. Before I knew shit, I had someone telling me that they don't work. They're like, I work. I'm an engineer. I build the highways you drive on. And they did, but they didn't. Because then later they told me. I even worked on some of them. I actually worked on some of them. And then they told me, yeah, we don't actually do this. And I think that was a parable for we don't actually exist, to be honest. I think that's what he meant by that is that's being auto-generated and he's getting paid for free. His job don't exist. Whether he knows that or not, I don't really care. He was that Trump dude, which is also the other dude who tried to kill me, which is also some fourth clone. So the clones, apparently, 2 of them are MLB pitchers. That's how the same they are. You ever met an MLB pitcher? Me neither. Unless I was a little kid and just met them on the field. But that's how rare, that's how unique the samesies are. Is they are both MLB pitchers. They're like designed for that role. Kind of like, it reminds me of Grand Theft Auto, how when I drive around the block, there's only like 3 prostitutes. Yet, like, they're all over. How are they all over? It looks like there's only 3 of them. They all look exactly the same. It's like, how does that happen? Anyway, so yeah, I think the word immortal is just like way overblown. You know, that's what you get for including. If you, I mean, how do you even include? You know, you're gonna make an excuse like, well, not all of our Buddhist temples are the same. Have you tried the one down the block and up 2 blocks? Good Buddhist faith plus care. It's so much different. That's really different. Mm. Mm. It's just the Catholics. They've actually sent NPC to me to say that shit who are clearly doing that NPC talk where they tell me what they're doing. You know, like, okay, so I was looking at this snapshot of Zelda earlier because I was looking for NPC dialogue. And there's a fairy in the cage, and the fairy's like this evil dark man. You know, they're telling you what's happening in the game somehow. How do you know what's happening in the game? I don't know. Fucking, they're like some evil dark magician that's taking over the castle and the soldiers in it. Right, Ganon. So, I don't know if the SNES version actually had Ganon, did it? Um, Anyways, it doesn't matter. The evil dark magician. But on Earth, the evil dark magician himself will like insert. You can see in movies, you know, sometimes it has the bad guy like telling you the script. Like it could just end the movie, but they want to be like, ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha ha. They got a gun to your head and they're like, ah, my plans are to take you out and your family and not to dinner, but, you know, a really good dinner I had it last night. And then, you know, we kidnapped those people right before, and then we're gonna insert the software into the computer, and then we're gonna take over the computer, and then we're gonna use the computer to change all the infrastructure, and it's like, wow, the only reason this movie even exists and isn't a 15-second movie is because this dumbass here has a chance to kill these fuckers and doesn't, and just fucking tells you the dialogue to the plot line to the fucking story. And so this dumbass, very memorable because he's like telling me what he's about to do before he does it and shit. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? And then he's got a book explaining to me what golems is and shit. So that magically appears right there on the bed with him. And I'm like, let me check that out. I already know what golems are, so I don't really need to. But I want to see why he has a book explaining to him what golems are and shit. Fucking golem is just a robot. So that's all that means. It's just a parable words. Parable words. The Bible says there's creations and robots on the planet and shit. Fucking there's soft robots, and the logic behind that is you design it so it's soft and plushy, and you can terminate it if you don't like it. And now if you build a Terminator, a robot that's indestructible, it's probably going to be the last robot you ever build. Fucking once, or it'll be the last robot you see, because whoever built it will be like the American government. He'll be Elon Musk, won't he? Fucking, I already seen they got mechs in Japan now. Now they got mechs. Like, yep. Fucking, yep, but once they're automated, all it takes is that software there, and they're in control now. Or whoever's in control of them are in control. Fucking, I don't think robots can think on their own. I get the idea that that'll never ever be possible. They won't be able to put shit together. Just no, they haven't done that yet. and unless they're purposely holding back technology, they could benefit. Everyone could benefit. Maybe that's the problem. Is everyone could. Um, anyway, so yeah, once someone says any of these words, it's like, oh yeah, great. You got the religions of LSD who talk about the mortal coil. And that makes a lot of sense, don't it? Take LSD all the time to free your mind. Free your mind of the mortal coil, no doubt. No doubt you'll be freeing your mind of the mortal coil in no time. and okay, so the other thing is well, we do have clones out here, and they're not part of a mortal coil. So, how many of them do you think are using those words? So again, we have things that aren't using words to convince you they are. And this is probably a huge, obviously, if some I suspect are pushing, it's just the Catholics type shit or the free your mind with LSD religion. If people are pushing that, then obviously they're pushing religion. So, free your mind with LSD. Did you know you're part of a mortal coil? Right there. We can end the conversation with free your mind with LSD. Now, you actually get baited into this shit. There's nothing. Eh, it's not there's nothing better to do. There's always some people with guns and armies involved in the learning experience of Earth. It's almost like when you come here, and the only thing you're learning is Santa Claus has an army of hostile predator pedophiles and who aren't alive but are desperately trying to convince you that they're part of a mortal coil. Yeah. That's the only thing there is to learn here is that there is you are being taught to unlearn what you already know. So one of those things that preventing you from learning, uh, like the obvious thing, there's clones, shapeshifters out here lying about what species they are, and they're the biggest proponents of these religious psychopath LSD free your mind mind control events. And yeah, yeah, I don't know who's discussing this mortal coil. It keeps the illusion alive and shit. Um, it's part of the fabrication of reality, which is another thing there. What's that? Does that make it four things? Because I didn't really link to that last one just yet. Um, the illusion, if it's created to that illusion going on, which obviously those other things are all part of that, right? But the more realistic thing is how fake it all appears, and then for it to have a or to actually have existed 100 years ago, it would need some weight to that claim to back it up. And in comes the truck, the dump truck, dumping in all that gravel, all that weight to weigh it down with substance. And in that substance, we have lots of things related to this. Buddha was invented thousands of years ago. He came to the earth thousands of years ago. And the six-armed elephant warrior came to earth, 4,000 years ago. And the flying eagle god That was what, 7,000 years ago. A half bird man ruled the planet. All that weight. And so, what you have done is you have found yourself the needle in the haystack, the diamond in the rough. And wow, you're pretty lucky, aren't you? Because most of the time when I'm out there looking on the ground for diamonds, I don't see any. Not that I haven't, I found $1 on the ground here and there. But most of the time when I'm looking at the ground, I'm not seeing. I have found winning lottery tickets with worth more than that, right? But most of the times, I'm not seeing that when I'm looking at the ground. I'd say, I spend my whole life looking at the ground. If I find a lottery ticket and a dollar bill 2 times, like that's literally okay. So there's 500,000 hours I've been alive. 60 minutes in each, 60 seconds in each, and I'm staring at the ground every second of that. And only so I forget the actual math, but I think we're at like 240 million seconds. I think we might be over that 600 million seconds. Um, and so for what? It's been more than 3 times, right? For 10 seconds, 10 out of 600 million is your odds um, that you're going to find weight of substance in that dump truck or something of actual substance in the dump truck of pebbles being dumped. Um, so I think that's how you think. If school had a class how to think, which it couldn't because no one would pass it because you would quit school probably by the end of the week. I know it shouldn't take 7 days to teach it. Should just take a couple hours, and pretty much every kid in the class would be like, "Yeah, so why are we here again? Why are we in school?" And if all this hogwash you're saying in the class of how to actually think in the real world, if all this fancy psychology you're talking of is real, then why are we in school at all? So it's like, oh, well, we can't have this class in school, can we? That's going to defeat the entire purpose. So if you just there's a few things you need to learn in life to think. It'll protect you from crackheads on the street. 6 foot social distance is one of those good things, but personally, I think you need like 12 to 6 million foot. So, I just the other day, someone got a little close to me right by where they did a little bit, where they definitely did before. Um, and it's like I noticed, like, yeah, I already knew this. I knew this since 2020. 6 foot is not enough distance. You need like the internet. As long as you're within phone range of someone, it's not enough distance to protect yourself and keep yourself safe, and keep your life to yourself and other people out of it. The only thing that goes against the mortal coil is how early I learned all this shit. Against the mortal coil being just like total Santa Claus fairy tale is how early I learned this shit, but we don't know how that is. We don't know. I doubt. I kind of doubt I'm born knowing how to read. You know, um, especially because I was here in the 1940s and I was Shakespeare or something. I kind of doubt that. It seems more like there's a picture of me when I'm 2 months old where I'm a different person, and then there's never that picture again. So might have just been a fast fucking learner and learned these things within the first few months of life or something. But yeah, the how to think classes are pretty simple, and it'll protect you from people who are scammers, sellers, any pretty much any salesman, any solicitor type people. Except for with you got to factor in the how to think. There's always a how are other people forcing their way into your life to prevent you from thinking for yourself and stall and stop you so they can take control of your thought process and control you. That is something you need to be rich to do. You need a point man on each side. I don't think that if you live in a city, the 6 foot social distance shit ain't enough, and you're not going to get the 6 million foot social distance. So you would need a point. I've I haven't spent a lot of time on it. I just figured right away what you need is 3 bodyguards as point men in a triangular shape surrounding you like a force field, and they can talk to people for you, and if it's their job to prevent them from manipulating the bodyguard to being like, but no, I want to talk to that person, not you. That's a bodyguard's job, right? They protect your body. I call them a mind guard if I bought them. And that's going to run you about $60 an hour. So, how do you even get there? These other people are content with scamming you for at the $3 an hour, $1 an hour. So, working your way up to $60 an hour is it's just money you can burn to protect everything else. It's going to be you're going to have to be a slave for a long time, and you're going to have to be the best fucking slave on the planet, and you're going to have to sell out to a bunch of rich people, and probably just best bet's go to Hollywood and sleep with some men there when you're a 4-year-old boy. You'll get rich from it. You'll get your bodyguards. Once you turn 21, keep your mouth shut, except for when you're being paid to open it. By the time you turn 21, you'll be able to afford those bodyguards. And, you probably keep your mouth shut after that, too. Just hire the bodyguards and don't explain what they're for. Obviously, have the bodyguards explain any explaining that needs done once you have your point men is always to be done by the point men, or we won't get around this. Anyways, you would need that on top of a class of how to think. But the class of how to think would include things like once someone comes up to you and they're being pushy with any sort of thing, this person's invading your life and they're trying to pull one over on you. They're trying to force their way into your life to control you for their gain, because there's no reason for anyone to be pushy other than that. And this is the sign of a crackhead, a person who is fiending for dope and doesn't have any crack. Cocaine does this to people, if you've ever known any crackheads, unless it's developing the NPC that way, which I think is reality. But let's play along with the mortal coil for a second. Fucking you'll notice that crackheads are like fiends and shit, and they just need fucking and that allows them to secure, like a wild animal. It allows them to secure food for their nose, for their family, their nose. You gotta be taught to look out for that. I know when someone comes up to you and their story is, oh, my car broke down, oh, I need some money, and then it starts going into, but Santa Claus and the mortal coil took my money, that's why I'm out. So I'm generally good. I just need some money right now. And look, I've got this brown piece of gold here. It was brown gold ring, brown with the brown wearing off and a little bit of silver green under it. It's worth $50,000, but I'll give it to you for if you give me $25 for gas. We had the scammers try that shit on me. The Jays and the Muslims came together. That one group, a team of Jays and Muslims. Every time I talk about them, the feet lickers, the ones who need Europeans to lick their feet, play Jesus, and wash their feet for them. The ones who are on land they don't belong and shouldn't be here and should be evicted. Should have been evicted before they came and killed the natives here and started blaming other people for it. So yeah, mortal coil sounds like bullshit. Every fucking way. First of all, the clone shapeshifter things, they don't have a history. It's fake. It's made up. The one across the street just magically fucking appears there. Aged like 35. So all their history is fake and made up. They aren't on a mortal coil. They aren't mortal. They're a computer. And a very, very nerfed. See, that's wrong. It's like, this is a computer, right? Because there's a chip in it. But when I was born, computers meant like calculator. Computers meant something that makes a calculator look like garbage. So you would never think that anything walking around the planet would be a computer because none of them are calculators. So how could it be 10 million times more advanced than a calculator if it's not even a calculator? What you do is you go back and you program it to be stupid so it can fit in and infiltrate like like Terminators do. And then like the military would do, like Elon Musk will do if he ever happens to invent robots. It's odd their people always have their little Muppets with them and shit. The Muppets always have them with them, like a tier 2 Muppet class from tier 1. They don't seem very alive. They're very dead on the inside, so I'm going to assume that they're not living beings. Plus, they're a huge part of the auto-generated Hollywood media, which means they're not actually making that shit, so they're either really good liars or they are robots fucking who don't know what they're saying. Anyway, yeah, so the mortal coil is all out the window. Fucking no one would come. Okay, so here's what fifth or sixth. No one would come back to Earth. Now, it's like this. The first few months you're here, you're like, oh, fuck this. Why would you come back here? I mean, and of course you have fry your mind on LSD that I'm selling to you at really high prices, fucking telling you, well, if you're bad, you'll come back as a grasshopper. Heck, so buy my acid and my book and watch my movies and worship my people as gods and lick our feet and give us children to rape. They don't like it when you cut their 30-minute story short and summarize their bullshit. I noticed that when you're like, oh, I've got a life. And they're like, well, you know what? Jesus doesn't care about your work. He cares about you giving me money and licking my feet. That's right. We don't care about you at all. Fucking. Oh, fuck. Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing the shit we put up with. That how infiltrated this planet must be in order for this to exist at all. I guess that explains why half my family had to kill off the other half of my family, and I've never seen anyone from that race in this fucking half of the fucking in 99% of the world. Maybe it's got something to do with that, or maybe that's just a lie from them because they seem like NPC too. So it's a lie from them. Fucking maybe it's a backstory or something. They're like that bitch across the street. Like she just fucking appears there. She's got a backstory with her. Like bitch didn't exist a few fucking weeks ago. Fucking it brought the original fucking clone, and a week fucking later, and that was like from 25 years ago they created that one. So wow, and her family acted like clones too. Like if we're gonna differentiate how we can spot living beings from clones, that the clones are like just defective. That's a story there, right? That's not my words. That's their story that they can't make them right, and so the clones turn out weird and shit. Um, like trying to capture the souls and put them in other bodies, and then the software doesn't line up because it's not real. Because DNA shit ain't real. It's just some religion telling you about bullshit so clones can fucking infiltrate, most likely. That's what it all is about there. That's another thing too, seeing how the DNA of two clones doesn't, they say the DNA of two clones doesn't line up, and then you realize, oh yeah, the mortal coil, how long ago was that created? Fucking, the DNA, that's, their science doesn't necessarily say that. It is obviously just another Abrahamic religion, though. So, I mean, why not include the mortal coil if we include pedophilia, which is a religious thing? Um, so yeah, I'd say that's easily disproven. See, I shouldn't have to spend an hour. My brain is I'm frying my brain. I'm becoming human. I'm wasting time when it's as simple as once they've said another word that's a lie, once they've promoted another lie constantly, every word they say is a lie. We shouldn't. It's not every word they say is a lie. It's we don't care what they say. Why am I being forced to hear anything from their bitch ass mouth ever again? Why don't I have my security guards on point, ready to bust their fucking teeth out if they fucking come up trying to grab me and force me to fucking talk to them and hear their bullshit? That's what it boils down to there. All of these topics. Once the crackhead exposes themselves as a crackhead, it's always a crackhead. And there's nothing else to it. They're not going to go to rehab. This is obviously their religion telling you they're gonna get rehab from going from one drug to another. Uh, Fuck, dude. Come on, Santa Claus people are the ones promoting the word rehab. Look, they're fucking mentally retarded terrorists. Doctors are fucking doing what with this? It's why do we have religious signs on our on a fucking science building if they're opposing, if science was created to oppose ignorance? Why would we have be working with Santa Claus and building rocket sleighs to go to Mars? You see, once they link themselves to their brain doesn't work, then it shouldn't matter what they're saying next. Their brain doesn't work. They need a special place to go to, a special room where people like themselves can hang out while adults go do other things in the world. So they can't fuck up the world like they have. They know this. They're the ones who create this idea. They're the ones who create the rooms where they drug and kidnap people who don't want to think like they do. And they don't say it like that. They say it people who see things like flying reindeer, people who are out of touch with reality, like people who are telling you to take acid and join the mortal coil, and Santa's coming. See, they're teaching. They're teaching you the solution to them. They're telling you, like the NPC are coming up and telling me what they're about to do sometimes before they do it. I've had times where like the game like almost paused, not quite, but it was so slow it was pretty much a pause. When someone was doing something, and it gave me like time to sit there and think about it for a minute. And it's like it wasn't a minute. I'm sure it was like half a second. But it does that. See, like they're teaching you the answer. They're telling you when people are out of touch with reality and they're seeing shit, they should be locked in rubber rooms and drugged heavily. And then they create those buildings, and then they use them against other people, probably because they find out they are those people, and they're just psychopaths who want money. So it's like, well, we're supposed to lock psychopaths who will do anything for money in here, but I don't want to be in here. Let's just lock people in here and take their money. That sounds like a better plan. Fucking, but they're telling you, you see, like the dark wizard of the castle who's taken over the castle in Zelda ends up being the character telling you, you know, the dark wizard is taking over the castle. You must find this sword of light to thwart them. The sword of light is down the block and it's blue and shiny. And it has a long hilt. You know, it'll cost 240 gold. And then, like, you learn, like, and then after you do all that, you go back and then it is the dark wizard. The dark wizard told you all about it. This shit's been happening in this world. Who else is it if you don't? If you like keep your life to yourself, how else is anyone gonna force their way into your life unless they are a dark wizard? You have to be trash in order to force your way into someone's life. You have to be on Ganon's team. You fucking. What are you even gonna listen to an NPC for if it's like, well, I mean it's in a video game, right? But if it was a realistic game, the fairy comes out of nowhere when you get captured by the guards, and it's like you gotta find the dark wizard's taking over. You gotta find the sword. You're like, okay, cool. But now if the fairy comes up to you and like puts a knife to your neck and says, "The dark wizard is taken over, and you must find this sword to defeat him." You know, that's not gonna work very well and shit. Or if the fairy just kicks in your door and be like, "The dark wizard's taking over, get the sword," and walks out, like you're gonna be like, hey, you might be the dark wizard because you just fucking kicked in my door and came in my house. So apparently, it only leaves it one option here for it to only send the dark wizard to send the message about the dark wizard taking over and shit. And you're gonna have to get the sword, you're gonna have to forge it, and then the dark wizard is training you. The dark wizard's like, "This is how you swing the sword. Like that, like that. Don't use it for evil." It's like, okay, so but killing the dark wizard is good then. Okay. Oh, okay, I won't use it for evil. All right, we'll just kill the bad guys with it. Okay. Excellent. I got you, Mr. I'm Not the Dark Wizard. Uh, oh, yeah. That's happening a lot here, isn't it? Isn't it? Like, ooh, the greatest people on the planet are like, oh, free your mind, take your acid and shit. Fucking, you got the mortal coil. Be happy and peaceful. Take the acid for your brain. Fucking, you gotta be happy and peaceful because the Dark Wizard ain't too powerful. The Dark Wizard's just Koopa sitting on a bridge that you just got the links to, and he drops in because for some reason he wants to hang out on top of a pit of lava. That's not gonna. He hangs out on top of a pit of lava with a button you press that drops the entire fucking bridge, and he doesn't even. He just doesn't want to move from it, and so you just gotta jump on the button, and he falls in the lava and shit. The Dark Wizard has set the entire room up. He set the bridge up. He set the lava up. He set the button that you just gotta press to drop the bridge. And the button is conveniently located not on the bridge. So when you press it, you won't be on the bridge either. There's a lot of shit like that happening. But anyway, so Koopa seems to be the one talking about the mortal coil. Ooh. The only thing scary or interesting about that is this is real trashy. If you gotta come back to this. And then there's 7. Magically, I'm born in a time where everything is there. All the technology, everything. There's no need for anything. You know, I'm not going to have to go start fires. I know how to start fires. Not going to have to. I'm not going to have to worry about buying a tent, even though I know how to pitch one. Because there's going to be bridges to sleep under. I'm not going to have to worry about money because things are just there. I don't have to worry about killing a deer if I get hungry. If I want leather armor myself, leather clothing, not going to have to worry about. Not going to have to worry about picking cotton and spindling the cotton, knitting it together to make a shirt. I'm just magically born in a time where all that existed, and it's still bullshit. And I definitely wouldn't be living in any other time. No. Living people would probably be trying to kill themselves by the time they're 8 in mass if it's this fucked up and it's like this. Imagine if it was just nothing of value. The only thing of value going on the planet was you could become a knight and go kill and invade people and chop people up and bang on a tree to make some drum noises for decades on end. We're just gonna bang on a fucking tree. At least back then, if someone came up to you and said, can you stop banging on a tree, you could be like, yeah, well, I mean, I could only bang on your head once, but it makes a cool sound, so let's try that. Boom, boom, splash. There you go. Stop banging on the tree. And again, if this might be 8, the things that exist now that wouldn't fucking exist if history existed. You wouldn't have all these fuckers acting up. You know, who won the war? Did Santa Claus win the war? People who hallucinate on LSD win the war? Like they killed off everyone else on the planet. And so I guess that's all there is. That doesn't make sense because when you have like little villages, you got tribal people, and you got a few people living in the caves, and that's all there is on the planet. Few people living in the plains, few people living in the jungle. Those people would hopefully care for themselves. Well, you know what? Now that I'm saying this, I realize most families, each person's out for themselves, and they rape their fucking children. So I don't and enslave them. So I don't think they care about anyone. Uh, so maybe I'm entirely wrong on that, but I would like to think that you create a little city, and the purpose of creating your little 3 tent area called a city, or 3 jungle hut area called a tribe, would be to prevent the people on the outside from fucking things up within your little area. But then again, you know, like every time I say that, in my experience, the people around you are going to be the ones who rape you and fucking force you to do slave labor. And it's not going to be Chuck E. Cheese or Bill Gates. Never even met Bill Gates. And Chuck E. Cheese just looks scary. He didn't do too much that I know of. Might have done a whole bunch of shit when I wasn't looking. Who knows? But, who are these? Hitler. There's Hitler. I'm supposed to be worried about him. And I was like, I never met these people. Karl Marx, never met him. Jesus, he's never been the one who's came up to me and threatened to kill me if I don't give him some children to wash their feet. I've never met these super villains in the comic books that we read about daily. But I would say it's the total opposite of the end of the spectrum. Even though I have been around people close to those people, I always gotta say, those people are the ones who say the fuck out of my way. That's weird. I guess if you work for Epstein, you learn to stay the fuck out of people's way or something. I don't know. Or it's better at manipulation. I guess if you're working for him, you probably are going to learn, the hard way. Yeah. If that's not just a fantasy characters they've created to fucking point the other direction and have you look away while they reach in your pocket. Which I wouldn't put it past too many people, but the one wasn't. It's like he didn't do too much bad, and I gave him a lot of reason to Then again, I was remembering earlier today. It's my favorite shirt, and you can't even get that shirt anymore, and it's got a really good message on it. I don't know how much more of and then me having to change my clothing into what he wanted changed my entire life into the LGBT path, where people can then be like, oh well, you're getting what you give, and so now I'm attracted, even though I wasn't attracting metalheads before. Yeah, again, it's constant lines from Pinocchio. That's all you really need is, does Pinocchio ever stop lying? What is this mortal coil he's invented? He's yapping about this time and shit. Like, be gone, Pinocchio. I don't want to hear. Your stories were interesting, but they're getting really old and stuff. I mean, where are the flying T-Rexes? That's what I want to know. Where are the flying T-Rexes at? That's a good story. I haven't heard about that one yet. I keep thinking there's a few stories here we haven't heard yet. And that's one of them, flying T-Rexes. Of course, I don't want to hear the story about it, do I? I want a new vehicle, and I just have the TRX fucking 2025 model in mind. So No lie there. I'm not saying it exists. I'm saying it should exist, and I'd really like to have it. I really feel like a baller if I had that. All the bitches would love it. I'm not worried about that dumb shit. I just want the TRX 2026 model. Fuck. I don't give a shit about the bitches. The TREX comes complete with the security system to keep bitches away from it. Fucking, it's like having that three-man point guard security team, but you're riding on top of them, which are more effective and shit if you ask me. Although I think both combined will work. You know, you get the TRX 2006 model, and then you just have I guess you have your three-man point guard on electric scooters and some shit, you know, in formation around you. That'd be the ultimate security setup right there. I think the TREX it might be more effective than the three-man point guard. You know, the ones who talk. So they be they'd be like, "Oh, that's a cute T Rex. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Buddha and the mortal coil yet? And how Buddha would sit around and do nothing, and he wouldn't say anything, and then and he wouldn't be doing things like riding through town on a big giant fuel guzzling TREX 2026 model. That's what people like Bill Gates and my mom do. It's not what what Buddha would do. You see, all it takes is there's been 46 fucking years. 46 fucking years. And all it takes is knowing them. Knowing a person says one fucking word, like one idea over and over, and they have something wrong in their fucking brain, and you can't trust them. You can't trust any fucking thing they say. And 46 years later, we're still trying to explain. Well, actually, we didn't start trying to explain it for a while, but because it's very dangerous. Um, we just investigated them to get it all together. So I think when using the word mortal coil, I'd go ahead and I suggest you examine the other words they use, and that will tell you what's in their brain while they're talking about mortal coil. Whatever someone's talking about, the words they're using is going to tell you what they're really talking about. If they're using something to bait you in somewhere or to pull you into an idea, which obviously mortal coil is going to be one of the 1,000 religions, or one of the science is a religion, but it's an anti-religion, isn't it? Because they said so. Because they're facts and truth. They are the way, the truth, and the light, aren't they? Never heard that one before, but they are the truth. Um, yeah. So mortal coil out the fucking window. Oh my god. And that's not just me like hoping that ain't true. Cause you just can't make it any fucking worse for me. So there's no hoping. We aren't Santa Claus. We aren't gonna wake up tomorrow with glowing reindeer dancing around inside our brain. Um, yeah, I that's all it takes. is anyone using the word mortal coil, I'm sure is using a whole bunch of other hokey dokey shit that you know is not real, and or you can sense sometimes it's not everything's about flying invisible glow in the dark reindeer, and you'll get a sense of dread when these people come near you. You'll get a sense of hostility when these people come near you. You'll sense a predator walking into your vicinity usually, like a gazelle. It's a bad term because they have to have hundreds of millions to protect them. But have you ever seen those nature movies? Yeah, because I'm always watching tigers and lions and stuff, and every time the tigers. It's a bad analogy because the gazelle is the one who needs to be worried about the fucking tiger, and the gazelle is. The group of gazelles, you can tell that they know that the lion or the tiger is approaching from like 600 meters away. And they get a little shifty, and then they try to act cool and play it off because they're drinking water and they don't want to start running. They're stupid. Stupid. I think stupid is really the root answer there. Is, hey, look, it's tiger. Well, you know what happened earlier today and the day before, and then 12 hours before, and then 24 hours before, and 36 hours before, and 92 hours before, and 100 hours before. Well, it's either we're just ignoring it because we're going to die no matter what, or we're too stupid to get the fuck out of here. And I kind of get the idea that they're they're stupid. They seem pretty stupid. They look pretty stupid, don't they? And and the tiger plays on their stupidity. He'll be like dancing around like it's a little kitten playing with a butterfly, so it can like dance closer to the gazelles. It's like, oh, it's a butterfly. Oh, look, it's a butterfly. It's a butterfly, and then roll around, and you can tell over the course of like 5 minutes, the tiger's like inching in, and there ain't no fucking butterfly it's playing with. Because the tiger's like constantly looking at the gazelle too, and you'll get that sense of dread there. It's like when one of them appear in your visual range and shit. You get that shit. I try to cross the street and everything. I'm looking at the ground most of the time so they can take full advantage of that. And I'm in this large city of parasitical psychopaths called Columbus, Ohio, who fucking, there's only one answer to free yourself of free the land of something like that. And yeah, so they try to force the mortal coil talk on you like that. You get that predator sense. Wait, when you get that from someone, that you get that they think they're a predator sense. They're trying to be a predator sense. And you get the disgusting, icky feeling. When you get the feeling you don't want to talk to someone and they're forcing you to talk to them. When you get the feeling you're hearing bullshit and you should turn it off and stop listening to it. I'd say it's your intuition telling you you've been in this situation before and you understand this person's emotions. Some people say that you can smell chemical changes, so that might be part of it too. They're drugs, you don't necessarily smell chemicals it gives off, supposedly. But we know these other things. We don't know for sure what's happening, but we know we can sense a predator is in the area or a wannabe predator is in the area, and we can. Okay, so I guess a better example would be the hyenas, right? The hyenas and the tigers and lions, right? They aren't really scared of them. And they're definitely going to kill one or two of them, but they might nip at them and damage them, and they don't want that to happen. And sometimes they probably could kill one of them. Sometimes they do. We get to kill one of them, especially if it's wounded. It's like, it's like these vultures, these eagles. They wait to find wounded prey to attack it. Because the eagle's not really going to do much to a fucking deer or anything better than a deer, is it? It's going to have to wait. The eagle ain't going to be able to fight a fucking tiger. It's going to have to wait till it's completely dead to fucking, and then do what a vulture does: eat its carcass. Fucking call its friends over, eat the carcass, and then eat the carcass. Whatever other animal died fucking trying to kill that one too. So you get those feelings around those people too. Like when I was a kid and people started talking to me about certain shit. I don't know if I had that feeling yet. I don't know. I don't know where those started, but these days I can tell like when people are saying some bullshit. I don't know if I was always right when I was younger, but I know these days I can sense that. NPC be coming up with the dialogue and shit. And I was like, what the hell does the dark wizard taking over the castle have anything to do with me? And what's this sword of light you're talking about type shit? Fucking, um, I don't know where that comes from, but I get that with all that. And I pay attention to a lot of that shit. So you don't have to. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have a choice. Um, but it definitely seems like hogwash, and it's related to other stuff that's mostly hogwash, and it's all relying on invisible things in order to keep the hogwash afloat, like the mortal coil. It's a topic because it's invisible and no one can prove it exists. Things that are visible and do exist, people rarely talk about. No one's like, do you believe there are cars outside? Do you believe there are trucks outside? Why don't they do that? Do you believe there are buildings outside? No one does that. No one does that for some reason. It's because you don't have to go, you have to go and go spreading the good word about the cars outside. There's vehicles that get us places faster. If only you believe in it. I don't have to do that. For some reason, I mean, there are probably some people out there. There are some people out there who I like genuinely question, like, what? How come they're walking and breathing, but they can't figure this or this other thing out? That thing or this thing or what thing? It's like, wait a minute. I thought that it seems to me like Usain Bolt takes more practice than understanding certain basic things out here. Becoming Usain Bolt seems like it probably, like it takes babies like a year to learn to walk, and like sometimes 6 7 years to talk and stuff. It's must be a complicated thing and shit. And I'm not being insulting. I'm saying it's very complicated. You're moving your toes, you're moving your ankles, you're moving your your calves, your tibialis, you're moving your hamstrings, your knees, you're moving your glutes. What am I leaving out here? That's just the walk, and you're moving two two set, like a set of two in unison in order for it to work, and they got to be in time like a car engine, or you break the pistons like that, like a baby falls over. And if an adult falls over like that, you'll break your legs and never have knees again. So it's a very complicated thing. And car engine works because it's a design that took a long time to make, and a lot of heat. The machines that make that steel that strong took a lot of time to make too. So it's not an insult. Well, that's a fact. It's I only learn other languages because talking and walking are complex fucking actions, and some things are more obvious, and some things can take like a second to understand, and I don't think that's always the case with building a car engine or walking, the equivalent, human equivalent of. Actually, walking is more like the chassis on the car, but it requires the engine in order to power it and shit. Technically, there's a hell of a lot more involved in walking. Um, yeah, so I think the first clue is when anyone says any of that dumb shit that you just gotta find a new city to go live in, find a new family, find a new. Obviously, it's not your family talking to you about mortal coil. It's going to be strangers on the street with LSD for sale. For the majority, I think we're going to experience that, right? Because it's a each little subsect of mind control has its tenets. You know, I don't go to church and they hand out LSD, but if I go to mortal coil convention, there'll be people with some LSD there. Guarantee you that. So, you know, they might be very similar, but they, you know, each church is different. And if one doesn't work for you, one of the, to just spend your whole life looking for the one in the 10 trillion that do work for you. And instead of doing anything else with your life, just spend your entire life talking to them. Do you have a choice? I don't know. I don't know. How do I know so much shit about this if I had a choice? I don't know. I don't really get the idea. I know half of it wasn't a choice, so 20 years of it wasn't a choice. At least. I when I'm 15 and I buy a shirt and it takes me months to learn to notice that there's religious symbols on the shirt because I didn't buy it for that. I was like, well, I know I didn't do that on purpose. And then going back and listening to all the music I've been listening to my whole life. And then you see Dune and Lord of the Rings and all that, and all the science stuff. It's like, well, I didn't make the choice to join, you know, and listen to 100,000 different religions here and shit. I definitely would have. If I would have heard those lyrics, I would have turned that music off a long time ago. If I would have known the Einstein cult was going to go worship flying reindeer and mortal coil shit and DNA that was false, it was probably lies. Fucking all it takes is the science, the Santa Claus shit, and you're like, oh, it's their people again, isn't it? Doing what their people do. Actually, that takes, you know, being shown a picture of everyone who owns these and understanding why, because they're telling you they're all the same for because it was spread by prophets, and they're telling you the Crusaders were good people, which was probably the opposite. It was spread by crusaders and prophets might be the good people, if there were any. If they weren't just cartoon characters, which Buddha and the six-armed elephant person, I think we got some. Oh, the flying eagle god. And there's really not many gods who could possibly be real. So it's I'd roll out the six-armed blue elephant Smurf warrior, but then understanding it's all the same. It's all Einstein's people. That's all they have to offer the world apparently. So they're using that AI generated shit to make their movies and music apparently. So that's how it's been appearing real fast for a while. Anyway, so mortal coil, probably not, right? We've got that's like 7 pieces of evidence. I'm always telling you that once you found two links, that you're on to part of the you're on to something, right? If you're thinking it, you get that premonition, and then you find the second link, that means it's already there, and you might as well keep looking for the third link. And once you find the third link, it's pretty much there. So we just went through at least 6 pretty solid fucking things. Yeah, I'd say that we could chalk out. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing these days. It's just been like, but remember that feeling I had? That's bullshit when I was a toddler. Well, I've got evidence now that this part of that bullshit is bullshit, just like the rest of the bullshit is bullshit. That's all we're doing these days, is dissecting the bullshit. And by studying the molecules, is this bullshit atom, or is there some corn in here, or what's in here? Is there a diamond in here, maybe? We're just dissecting the bullshit. We're studying it under the microscope and look at the atoms. I've never looked at atoms under a microscope. It makes me think that, wow, it's kind of weird. We leave a path where we are the rocket scientists, and then the outside world is like, no, we're not going to space. We're not going to let you near our rockets and stuff. And it leaves you with the question of, well, your rockets are being built by Santa. Are they even real? Is that why we're trying to keep us away from your rockets? Because they're being built by Santa? And Santa's not real, which means 50-50 chance Santa's rockets aren't real. Once I've actually blown shit up, rockets and stuff, so I can see you can do that. But it's just another continuation of religion there, and of the 1,000 religions. 6-armed elephant, Smurf rocket god. Fucking the simple fact you even have to discuss this because other people talk about it and bring the shit up as if there's something to talk about there. I don't really see it. I think that that whole everything being set up when you come here is almost more telling than once a liar, always a liar. Which, that should just be basic. That should be like breathing, What do you do after you breathe out? You breathe in. What do you do when someone continually lies? You never trust the word they say again. There's a story you taught as a child about that called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And, it talks about a person saying, it's kind of a bad story because someone's like, oh, there's an enemy, and then no one listens to them when there actually is. But technically that's about a person who is making up bullshit. Santa Claus stories. The boy who cried Santa Claus. The adult who cried Santa Claus. Oh, Santa Claus is coming. He's going to torture you if you don't come hang out with me. No, Santa Claus is coming. He's going to torture you. He's going to torture me if you don't come and hang out with me. You see, you got to change the words around so they fit your view when you're playing the manipulation games here. Fucking, but it's still all defeated in the end by just thinking shit and using your brain, which sometimes is like some weird computer. It's like alerting you, like, yeah, there's a pack of hyenas to your 6 o'clock. Turn around and look. And you turn around and you're like, oh shit, how did I know that? How did I feel that? How did I sense that? I don't know how that shit works, but it does. Shit like that works. You get that feeling from mostly these mortal coil people, too. You definitely get that feeling from them. I would say the majority of times I felt that it was either a crackhead, which obviously I think they'd be hiding behind if they're religio governments involved when the crackheads assault you. And obviously they're religio hospitals, religio government hospitals. That's like the trifecta there, isn't it? Not like the whole Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the government, the religion, and the crackhead. It's the unity. The government, the religion, and the crackhead. One doesn't work without it. None of them work without the other. The government falls when you kill it off. If the government doesn't have a backup government hidden, claiming it's not the government all the time, then the government would be completely eradicated from Earth eventually, like it was before Rome invented the Bible, when Rome was eradicated from Earth, which also took down the Egyptian Empire with them because they had just taken it over. So the governments had fallen, but the religion had not, for the religion was just re-rising. It was being rebaked. And then the crackhead, obviously, government's a building, and religion is an idea, and the crackhead is the vessel that enables the idea and the building to work, because the building doesn't work itself, and an idea doesn't promote itself unless it's true. So, yeah, those working together and shit. Fucking what is it? The building, the idea, and the crackhead. What? How? You gotta say that nice, right? Because you don't want to offend crackheads, or the government, or ideas. Fucking. I think there's probably a better term for that than idea, right? That's a little bit different. Yeah, what is that called when someone is trying to force you to take acid? Is that an idea? Someone's like, yeah, you gotta buy some acid off me, and I think that's called the salesman. Okay, so the government, the industry, and the crackhead. Yeah, we'll figure it out. They'll come to me and shit. This is the first time I realized like the trifecta of how it works. I understood, right? The government needs its backup government for when people overthrow the government, so it can swoop back in and take back of control once they've defeated all the evil in the land. Well, once Hitler's defeated all the Germans, fucking, and then as Russia and America swoop in to divide it up. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, so if the crackhead says it, the literal crackhead is talking about it, acid head, whatever you want to call it, I'd be very suspect of it. Um, Especially when you got the crackheads promoting drug use. And that's a sign you're dealing with a salesman. They're trying to sell you drugs. That's their only goal in life. They aren't concerned with your brain being fried. And people in my life had to teach me things. Be like, yeah, maybe you do want to do it, maybe you don't. Bad things can happen, and they don't teach you that when you watch that stuff on TV. New Age religion stuff with the mortal coil. But that would suck if you have to be alive longer than like 80 years, wouldn't it? Especially if you just come back. We're going to come back in the age of real robots and Terminators and shit. That'd be kind of cool, though, to have a mech suit and shit the size of a planet. But I don't think it'd be worth it. That's stupid. That'd be like, oh, I want to go to Earth so I can. They invented bicycles. I want to go back to Earth for 80 years. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the biggest thing is that everything was already here when I came here. There's phone, internet, TV, radio, books, games. They haven't invented one new media format since I came here. Computers, internet. I just didn't have the internet yet. And then the clones with their fake histories, whatever the fuck those things are, clones, shapeshifters, who really cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is their words are lies, and that's all that matters. Their other words are lies, so that's all that matters, right? Same can be said for the discussion of the mortal coil.